Nagagalit sa akin. College vibes. Sa ele. Nagagalit sa akin. Okay, class. Paki-thumbs up nga po kung may nakikita na pong PowerPoint. Okay, thank you po, Judith. We will now start our class.
Recording in progress.
Good evening po, class. Welcome sa subject natin sa OBSA ALI 01, Human Behavior in Organization. Today, our topic is all about work-related attitudes. Gaano kaya kahalaga yung work-related attitudes po, class, sa isang organization, sa isang business, sa isang enterprise, o sa isang institution? We have different theory relating to work-related attitudes. So first theory, class, is what we called skills theory of international trade. This has been advocated by a number of economists, especially kay Becker, Kennan, and Kessing. Whereas the factors proportions theory considers labor as homogeneous factor. However, it is not so in real world. In fact, for export of manufactured goods, the skill level of labor is very important determinant that labor can be basically divided into skilled and unskilled labor. Tandaan natin, class, na ang labor, isa rin po itong indicator sa work-related attitudes, and this is divided into two categories, the skilled and the unskilled labor.
Meron
On the
namang
basis of empirical testing, Casing concluded that patterns of international trade and location were predetermined for a broad group of manufacturers by the relative abundance of skilled and unskilled labor. Kapal, can you please unmute your microphone? Gapal. Okay, thank you po, Gapal. Again po, class, tandaan po natin na napakahalaga po sa work-related attitudes yung sinasabi po natin na basis of empirical testing that Casing concluded na itong mga patterns na ito when it comes to business po, class, ay mahalaga po siya. Where in fact, this is predetermined for a broad group of manufacturers. Not only manufacturers but only po, class, sa mga different employees po sa isang business organization. For example, a developing country like India, not only in India but also Philippines, has more abundantly supply of unskilled labor. Sila po yung mga grupo po ng mga tao na hindi po na-train, then will specialize and export those goods which are relatively more intensive in unskilled labor. Siyempre po, class, pag ang isang tao po ay hindi po siya skilled labor, mababa po ang kanyang sahod at hindi po siya avail po ng mga different na binibigay po ng mga organization or institution na mga incentive. Imports, on the other hand, will consist of those goods which are high-tech or which is more skill-intensive. Mas mahalaga pa rin po, class, kung ang isang empleyado ay skilled po siya at siya po ay na-align po ang kanyang trabaho sa kanyang skilled na pinagtatrabahuhan po, class, para magiging productive po siya and the same time makapagbigay po siya ng high income po sa ating company, sa organization o sa business po. Then, identical preferences theory. This theory is based on the role of demand as an explanatory variable used by lender. A domestic industry can flourish and reach commercially optimal level of production of domestic demand is large enough. Same also found that countries at similar levels of economic development have similar demand characteristics. It is therefore postulated, class, that trade opportunities are more among countries at similar stage of development with similar demand structure. It is very important that as young as you are now, you will consider yourself as a businessman or a businesswoman someday. So you need to develop what we call characteristics that can make our country, yourself, proud of, na magiging contributory po kayo para magiging maganda po yung economic development ng ating bansa. The theory also assumed that each country had its objective full production efficiency. It neglected such other motives as traditional employment and production history, self-sufficiency, or political objectives. In addition, class, the theory is overly simplistic in that it deals only with two commodities and two countries. In reality, given the full range of production by many countries, an interplay of many motives and factors, the trade situation is actually an ongoing dynamic process in which there is interplay of forces and product. So given the reality, class, as young as you are now, so mahalaga po yung papel na ginagampanan nyo para po magiging productive po ang ating bansa pagdating po balang araw if you will become a businessman or businesswoman po, kasi kayo po ang isa sa mga nilulook for to make this dynamic process interplay in the process and product itself. The largest area of weakness in classical theory is that while we considered all resource unit used in production, the only costs considered by classical economists were those associated with labor. Same as class, na this is also a way in which a particular group of people consider that a classical economist and associated with labor. The theories did not account for other resources used in the production of commodity or manufactured goods for export, such as transportation, cost, the use of land, and capital. Mahalaga ring class na this failing was addressed by the subsequent trade theories, which in modern theories include all factors of production in looking at the theories of comparative advantage. Next po, strategic trade theory. With the dramatic growth in trade in the past few decades and the growth in the role of MNEs in international trade, there has been a resurgence of interest in taking a fresh look at theories of international trade. In the last 2 decades, a new set of models has come into being using the perspective of game theory and theories of industrial organization. Same as, while there is no one overarching model, this broad collection of theories and ideas has come to be known as strategic trade theories. In the process of doing so, class, a fresh new set of insight relating to international trade and trade policy has emerged. The essence of almost all the new models of trade is the recognition that industries are characterized by any or all the following features. Unang-una, the scale, economies, which is both dynamic and static, product differentiation, imperfect competition, externalities and spillover, and in cases, irreversible investment. And some of the main insights from this literature as follows. Una po class, at napakahalaga po sa lahat, yung sinasabi po nating increasing returns to scale. Ano ibig sabihin nito? This provide a justification for trade for reasons other than comparative advantage. Since firms will have the incentive to produce and export in order to lower costs by attaining greater scale, an example of industry where this is important issue is the commercial airframes industry. Then number 2, product differentiation. Pag sinabing product differentiation class, this result in intra-industry trade. Since within the same industry, the same product can have different brand identities. For example, the US will export certain types of automobiles. Like for example, yung automobiles na brand ay Ford Escort. And it will import other types of automobiles. Pwede sila mag-import ng BMWs na kind of automobiles. So yun po ang ibig sabihin ng product differentiation. They will import and they will export. Number 3, imperfect competition. Ano naman ibig sabihin ng imperfect competition? Sir Francisco? What is imperfect competition? Nakamute po kayo, sir. Pag sinabing imperfect computation, ano po iyon, sir? Sa Rogel Francisco.
So the imperfect competition is it's a value of it's a fair competition that both parties have different ideas and but at the end, sir, both parties have perfect decision making that will go for an win-win solution, sir.
Okay, thank you very much po, Sir Francisco.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so what is the example of imperfect competition? Kodalina? Aleli, Kodalina, what is the example of imperfect competition?
In my own understanding po, parang balance yung pagte-trade sa home country and sa pagte-trade sa other countries po.
Okay, thank you very much. Jimenez?
Monopoly po. Kasi po, pag monopoly, wala pang competition yung isang business. Siya lang po yung nagiging superior sa isang industry.
Okay, thank you very much po, Jimenez. Okay, it is written here, for example, the imposition of quotas will increase domestic prices and thus can create trends for foreign procedures or producers. The home country government may notes try to counterbalance it with a subsidy to domestic producers so as to put price pressure on foreign producer. So ito po, ang sabi po kanina sa atin ni Kodalina, it is make us a balance between one country to the other. And then number 4 is all about externalities and spillover effects. Particularly, ito po ay innovation and research and development. May sometimes provide a justification for industry protection for reasons other than industry infancy or national security. The number 5, irreversible investment. Ito naman, class, ay tumutukoy naman ito sa asymmetry between entry and exit cost and can therefore lead to hysteric responses to price or quantity shifts. Okay, for your activity, what is human capital approach theory and what is strategic trade theory? I will be reading your answer in the chat box. Don't forget to write your name, your section, and your student number.
Sir, direct sa'yo i-send, sir.
Yes po, kung gumagana po yung direct sa akin, sige po, direct sa akin. Pag hindi gumagana, kahit everyone na.
Sir, permission to repeat the second question, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, second question is what is strategic trade theory?
Recording stopped.
Okay, according kay Asibal Mary Grace, the human capital theory posits that human beings can increase the productive capacity. So that is correct. Then, sabi din po niya, strategic trade theory, ito po ay sometimes sinatawag din po itong strategic policy or trade policy na kung saan it describes the policies certain countries adopt in order to affect the outcome of strategic interactions. So that is correct. Okay, I will be waiting some of your answer class sa ating chat box. Okay, para naman po sa sagot ni Ballesteros, human capital din po, sabi niya, these critics that theory argue that is flawed, overly simplistic, and compounds labor with a capital. And then, sabi din niyo po niya sa question number 2, ang strategic theory daw, the main idea ng theory na ito is that trade policies can raise the level of domestic welfare in a given state by shifting profits from foreign to domestic firms. Okay, I will be waiting also sa mga sagot
Sir,
ng
pwede
iba.
po pabalik sa question number 2.
Ang question number 2 is, what is strategic theory? Again, what is strategic theory? Okay, para naman sa sagot ni Distora, sabi niya, human capital theory sabi po ni Alquino, human theory daw ay productive capacity through greater education and skills training. While for her strategic theory, ito naman po ay interactions between firms in an international oligopoly, an industry dominated by a small number of firms. Okay, so that's nice. That's a very good answer. Kay De Leon naman, sabi niya, organizational thought which focuses on worker satisfaction. And then, na-describe rin niya yung kaniyang strategic theory that affect the outcome of strategic. Kay Sego naman, sabi ni Sego sa kaniyang chat, human capital theory simply talks about labor with the capital. And then, sabi rin po niya sa kanyang question number 2, strategic theory is a policy certain countries adopt in order to affect the outcome of strategic interactions between firms? Sabi naman ni Sabordo, ang kanyang sagot, ito po ay konsepto ng human resource professionals to designate personal attributes considered useful in production process. Then yung kanyang sagot sa kanyang strategic trade theory, ito naman po ay increasing returns and imperfect competition. It is a project that has effect in organization or business. Okay, class. So, sino pa po yung may mga problems sa Edmodo?
Sir,
Yes po, Tanilon Adeline.
yes sir. Ano po, doon po sa Edmodo class po, wala pa ako. Pero nag-join po ako, then hindi pa po na-accept.
Kailan po ba kayo nag-enroll?
Ano po, late enrollees po ako, second day na po ng classes.
Sige po. Okay po, ma'am. Mamaya
Thank
na
you
lang
po.
pag-open ko ng Edmodo.
Sir, and then me also regarding sa group.
Ano naman po sa yung problem regarding sa Edmodo group?
Sir, sa group, ano po, group class.
Magkaiba po yung Edmodo group sa Edmodo class.
Sir, sa group class, sino po yung right person for the, ano po, sa akin po?
Na-accept
Kasi
naman po kayo.
wala po akong group yata, sir.
Hindi ka pa nakapasok sa Edmodo group, Sir
Opo.
Rogel?
Sa
Hindi pa,
GC
sir?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, sa class, sir.
Sir, yun sa akin, Edmudo class lang po. Pero sa
Sir,
Edmudo,
meron naman po. But sa GC pala, I mean, sir, GC.
Okay. So kindly chat Ma'am Judith Labore.
Sa GC po.
Chat mo si
Sir,
Judith.
sorry.
Chat mo si Judith Labore na i-add po kayo sa
Judith
GC.
Labore.
Opo. Okay, class. So if you have no concern,
Thank you very much, sir.
Recording in progress.
okay, class, if you have no concern, thank you very much for your attendance and then for your activities submitted in the chat box. Okay, so happy dinner. Goodbye po, class. Thank you po.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po.
Recording stopped.